piano. I was just so in love with the sound of it. If I'm composing a song of my own, I just hear the tune in my head. Every piece that I composed and put on there, I'm always hoping that a person can listen to the music and perceive what speaks to them. A couple of notes came to me, and I said, just a second, and I ran over to the piano.
Hi, I'm Lahey, and I'm here this evening with Bob Dahl, who's a talented pianist and composer. He's from the local area. He lives in Salem, and he grew up in the valley here. And it's nice to be with you this evening, Bob.
Thanks, Al.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So now, your background is piano, and what is the starting point of your career in music?
The whole musical thing.
Uh-huh.
Vocally, I started singing in choir, and all my brothers and sisters were also in the choir, concert choir. I didn't actually pick up an instrument until I was about 16 years old, and it was guitar. It was my first, even though I played piano, it's my forte, but yeah, I started to play guitar, and when I was about 16, and I got together with some guys, and we tried to make a band, but the piano I became passionate about when I was about 18 years old. I started hearing this really gorgeous sounding solo piano from different the first artist that I heard his name is Michael Jones, and he's from Canada, and I was just mesmerized by the way this guy played, and then I heard the music of George Winston, also solo piano, and I was just like, I think I can do that. I think I can create like that, and I wanted to, and so I guess that's where it started with me on piano.
So one of the things I've always been impressed with, in listening to your music, is that you play by ear. And how did that come about?
Well, I just playing by ear. Like, if I wanted to, if I'm composing a song of my own, I just hear the tune in my head, and then whatever notes I'm thinking, da-da-da, or whatever, I'll find them on the piano, and so those will be the notes in the song. And but if I'm playing by ear to learn another person's music, like if I wanted to learn an Elton John song or something, I will listen to the CD, or and you know, I would like pause it and say, what chord is he starting on, and then I would just put my hands there and I would just listen to it and try to match the not the style necessarily, but the chords, and I guess that's part of playing by ear.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I find that it just seems almost impossible to me that someone can do that. It's really impressive.
Piano, is just so in love with the sound of it, and it's reminiscent of, I just wanted to say this before I forget about it. I think I've always been inspired by natural scenery, mountains and rivers. I'm not much of an outdoor person per se. I don't really like to go camping or anything, but when I was a little kid, I used to sit down on our house in Lebanon, Oregon. We had a picture window, and I used to sit by this heater. We had forced air heat coming out of the floor, and so it was a warm spot for me. I would sit by that heater and I would look out at the window, and directly out our window and past our front yard is this big field, and they still haven't built there, which is kind of neat. And beyond that is this butte, and Peterson's Butte, and you can just look out there and you can kind of picture yourself, maybe you're on the butte, and I just used to look at the sky and the mountains, and I don't know, I guess that part of that contributed to my spirit in wanting to compose that type of music. George Winston once, like I mentioned his name before, he once said in an interview, the pieces that he composes, he says the music is not about the piece. Like, he has a piano piece called Tamarack Pines, and it's a type of trees, and he said I don't write the music that represents the tree or nature or storm. I write music to the person experiencing it. I believe that's what he said. I hope I'm close, because I don't want him to come after me. But he said, rather than having the song be about the wind or the mountain, it's a person viewing those things. And I kind of feel the same way.
Now, have you always been musical?
I think so. I liked music and theater when I was in middle school, high school. I would go out for the plays, and my brothers and sisters were in concert choir in high school, and I thought, well, you know, I think I'll do that too, because I like to sing. My family, they're all musical. Let's see, there's Claude, Karen, Elaine, Kathy. Well, they were all musical or theatrical in some way. And we used to sing around the piano at Christmas time. That was special, you know, carols. My mom would play the piano, and then the 5 or however many were there would gather around, and we'd sing Christmas carols.
Where do you find your inspiration for your music?
That's probably a loaded question. I mean, divine inspirations. I have faith in a supreme being, but I have to go back to when I'm sitting out looking out the window at the nature, or nice long walks, or the feel of wind on my face, or the sound of rushing waters in the stream.
Right.
And the tranquility. You know, you ever been sitting on the side of a river or a lake, and not only can you hear the water, but you can hear the birds and the movement in the brush beside you. Just all of those elements combined, and not always nature. Sometimes it's about friendships and people. My music is about. I have a piece that I put on the Color of Dreams CD, which was my first, and it's called My Friend. I started playing piano, what I would say professionally, in 1995. I was 30, and I had been playing for many years before then.
Right.
And just kind of messing with my own compositions, but I decided I really wanted to pursue it as like a vocation.
Right.
In the course of my performance years, I created 4 CDs. And by the way, these are available at CD Baby is the name of a wonderful company. I just got to give them a little plug there. They're wonderful for starting artists.
Right.
And cdbaby.com.
Okay.
And my music is available through them, but I also have my own website, bobdahlmusic.com. That's my personal website, so you can listen to samples of any one of my 4 projects.
So the 4 you have out are Color of Dreams, and that was your first one.
Color of Dreams was my first one. Yeah, that was 1995, and that one was just, I poured everything that I had composed just onto this one CD, and and in 2000 I recorded 2 projects. Perception was the name of a CD. I want to talk a little bit about the word perception. To me, it's like every human being can share our lineage, our heredity, biology, and we can have a lot of things in common. But our perception of life, there's only one. It's, I mean, the way that you see something, the way that I see something, it's unique to me. Only I see things through my eyes. And so perception, every piece that I composed and put on there, I'm always hoping that a person can listen to the music and perceive what speaks to them.
I was listening to Perception today, and the first single on that.
That's Homecoming.
Yeah, I really love that song, and so.
Thank you.
That was
my
favorite one on that one. Yeah.
Thank you for that one. That one was special. I want to give credit where credit's due. A bassist named Dave Capteen joined me on that CD. He plays upright contrabass on that song, and I think there's 1 or 2 others on that piece. Where all my CDs are solo piano, but there's light orchestration on a couple of pieces.
Now, how about
Thank
Azure
you for
Skies?
that. Azure Skies was the CD that I put that out in 2005.
Okay.
And that was my attempt to see. I had been playing for, gosh, by 2005 I had been playing the scene wherever I could get a gig, and so for about 10 years, and I had developed not only my own passionate style, but I also was very moved by, I wanted to learn like jazzy styles, and what I did in Azure Skies, you were asking about that one, it's kind of like a combination of my jazzy styles and my more passionate, slow moving, melodic beauty. It's 2 different styles on one CD. I don't want to race ahead of anything, but I thought while I'm thinking about it, I might as well tell you my influences musically. I'd already mentioned like George Winston and Michael Jones, Canadian. I just love that guy. I wrote him a couple letters way back when, and he's a nice person too. But I learned jazz style probably from like Vince Guaraldi. Vince Guaraldi's famous for writing the music to the Peanuts cartoons, and Charlie Brown and all that.
Right.
I love his style. And then David Brubeck.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, the Brubeck 5 or however many it was. Anyway, and speaking of that, I got permission to do my version of Dave Brubeck's Take 5 piece. Actually, I think Paul Desmond might have been the person who actually wrote the melody. I'm not sure about that, but so don't quote me. But I included that on my Azure Skies CD.
Okay.
So.
And then you came out with the Christmas album.
Yep, I did come out on a Christmas album with
Star of Night.
Star of Night.
Yeah.
No, I was happy. I mean, I was happy with that, and I kind of dabbled a little bit more in the orchestration of some pieces. I had this really bizarre idea, for example, of Angels We've Heard on High. You know, to where it would start out with you know, do 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 do, and just this crash, you know, do 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 do, boom, you know, boom. And anyway, it's a completely weird meter, I guess you could say, and I felt like it needed some orchestration. I got a percussionist. Anyway, or added some orchestration to these pieces. On the Star of Night CD, most of those pieces are of the tranquil. That's a word that I've been kind of waiting or looking for all through this tranquility piece. And the Star of Night CD reflects that mood mostly.
Right.
There's one or two pieces that is punchy, I guess you'd say, but most of them are. It's a very it's like have a mellow Christmas. It's just it's almost like a new agey type of style, I guess.
No, it's a favorite Christmas gift of mine. Is so.
Thank you.
You bet.
I thought I would touch on some of the humorous things that have happened in my the piano career. On my Color of Dreams CD, I put a secret track on there because I had this idea when we were doing the CD. I said to Jeff, who was my engineer, Jeff Jukes engineered that program, that project, and I said, what if we did something funny like let's make the listener of the CD, they'll think that like it's a mistake. We left the camera, the tape running, and a cat got in the studio and jumped on the piano, and we're trying to shoo him out. I said, can we do a little prank like that on there? And so it's a 14th track. It's not listed on the jacket, but it's there. And what we do is we got his cat, and there's me saying, will somebody get the cat off the piano, please? We're still rolling or whatever, and you can hear the cat jumping on the
I heard that, and I thought
keys.
that might have been inspiration from the Beatles album.
It was just a kooky idea. I think some people don't like it, you know, because I did hear one well, at least most people thought it was funny, but one listener said it interrupted the feeling, the mood, and so what can you say? Sorry, I was just trying to be funny. And then the only other memorable and humorous event that I remember was when I was playing at a winery, and they had a rented piano on this stage, and I wanted to turn it a little bit so that it could be that I could connect with the audience a little better. And when I pivoted the piano, the hind is a baby grand, the hind leg, I call it the hind leg, there's the one in the back, fell off.
Oh my!
And the piano just went wham! If you can imagine the sound of just dropping a piano from 4 feet onto hard floor, it just boom, and it was a showstopper. Everybody stopped and turned and looked, and I was like, sorry, and we couldn't. Well, that was the end of the show, and that was funny, memorable, but.
I've just enjoyed over the years listening to your music, and it just, again, it really boggles my mind how you can, play by ear. It's just, I've always had an envy for people that had that ability in music, and it's impressive.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, but I got to tell you, it's there's a lot of people have it. I used to think that I was unique, but I've come across so many other musicians that they did just learn through how it sounds, but I really appreciate the compliment, and it's fun. I still play that way. I still hear if I want to get something down. That's what I love about this age we're in. If I have an idea, on my iPhone has a I think everybody has it, the voice memo thing where you can record. I think it's for people who say, "Oh, got to stop by the grocery store and get milk," or whatever. They put that. It's a recording device, and I put it on the piano, and I will record my ideas if I get one that comes. I can instantly have it just needs to be a few seconds of like, if I have a tune that comes to me, it can just be even the first 8 notes of it, and then after I listen to that, that's enough to start. That could be a whole piece, as long as I have that starting point of reference.
Are there any pieces that you've produced and written that have special?
Oh, that's a real good question. Now, there are some that have great memories came with that. I'll just tell you about 2.
Okay.
My wife was induced with our child Natalie, and she's 17 now, and I love her to death, and she's also very talented. But the day that we went into the hospital, we were getting stuff ready because I guess she was a couple weeks overdue. That's why they induce. I can't remember it all, but we were getting a suitcase ready and to go out the door, and this piece this couple of notes came to me, and I said, just a second, and I ran over to the piano, and I started just recorded a little bit of it, and just kept that. I probably had 20 seconds of something, and then we went to the hospital, and I had Natalie, and when we returned, I finished the piece, and so I called it Natalie's Theme. And there was another one inspired by people. I'll just call it the human experience, because that's maybe that's a good way to express it. My wife, this is probably in the late 90s when I was just starting my piano. My wife is one of 5 sisters. They're all girls. And I think there was like 4 of them over at our apartment that day, and they were playing like board game, and they were laughing, and they were having a good time, and I was in the other room, and I was practicing my piano. And you know, I always quietly, I do it a lot. Well, and while they were laughing and having the camaraderie and the warm joy of their time together, a song came to me, and I was so excited about it because I really like this one, and it's one of my favorites. And I told my wife, I said, "Hey, I got a song. I'm really excited." And so I was inspired by the sisters being together, and so I titled the piece "Sisters." So I have that piece "Sisters," and then I have Natalie's theme, and those are two pieces inspired by very personal and sentimental reasons, people.
Oh, that's great.
Well, thank you very much for
Oh, you're welcome.
having me here today.
So, thank you. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thank you.